So if you're going on a road trip of any real duration, you're going to need a navigator. Now, years ago, the navigator was the person who would be fighting with the big paper map, figuring out the route to go on. Nowadays, this is normally the person who interprets the GPS, because the GPS isn't always great. Sometimes it'll let you know every 300 meters that just keep going straight where you're going. Sometimes the directions aren't going to be very clear, so it actually helps to have somebody who's able to look at the display, make adjustments as needed. The other sort of role of the navigator could be doing things like grabbing snacks and drinks for both the navigator and the driver, providing entertainment, keeping the driver's mind fresh, especially on those longer drives, as well. Maybe making like phone calls or text messages if you're meeting up with somebody, coordinating things. It's kind of like navigation and communications, I guess.
It's really almost like you're on a road trip together. But it's like the navigator / shotgun seats, like the driver's personal assistant.
Yeah.
Right? And it is essential to have a good navigator on a longer road trip, especially to keep the mind going. Like yesterday I was starting to get a little tired because driving through Iowa and South Dakota, there's nothing but corn. Corn, all the corn. And it's super boring. So it's starting to get a bit tiring, and do that, I need to keep the mind going. Which is why if you have somebody else there to bounce weird questions off of, or have them ask you trivia or something like that, it's fantastic, because that gets your mind going and it keeps you awake.
And a particular pro tip, if you're driving into or out of Chicago, you're going to need someone to help prepare your tolls, because there's tolls on tolls on tolls.
Actually, even better, pro tip, don't go to Chicago. Just don't go to, in fact, if you can avoid Illinois altogether, that's probably for the best.
Maybe fly to Chicago if you want to go to Chicago, but to have a vehicle in Chicago is incredibly expensive. Whether it's the parking downtown that costs $25 for an hour or less, or it's all the tolls on all the bridges and the roads and the highways all over the place, having a car when you travel to Chicago, you would think it would give you freedom, but it's just not practical. You can rent a bike, there's the elevated train you could take, you can hail Ubers and Lyfts, but with all the costs that having a car between parking and tolls, they're going to add up. You're probably going to be saving money if you just don't bring your car to Chicago.